Hi, everybody, and welcome to Open Source Tonight, episode something. I don't remember the episode number, but you'll find out what it is when you look at the screen. Hi, everybody, Vincent here, and I'm your host. Hope you're having a wonderful day or night or whatever it is when you're listening to this. It's been a while, but I'm back on the podcasting horse. Back on the podcasting horse. It's my tradition to always start these episodes out with something random. Well, anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. Been a bunch of stuff that's happened since the last time I did the show, but in an effort to not make this episode 6 months long, I'm going to just cover what happened recently. Up first in the open source news this week, Inkscape 1.1 has been released. It comes with a bunch of new features. Among other things, a pretty cool looking new welcome screen based on the image I'm looking at here. Haven't really actually used the new version yet, so I can't really comment on how it's going to be in actual use, but the screenshots I'm seeing here from OMG Ubuntu look pretty interesting just from the welcome wizard alone. So I think it's going to be an interesting upgrade path. They got a bunch of different things in here that they've got now. If you want to, for example, use different commands, you can now just hit the question mark key and then enter some text such as rotate or something like that to be able to quickly make an operation. So that's pretty cool. They've added some more export options as well. Among other export options now available include JPEG, WebP files. If you're a web developer, those are pretty common, and TIFF files. So you're able to do all that now. Some new scale options have been added, selection options, things like that. So yeah, pretty cool. I'm looking forward to taking a look at it here pretty soon. The GIMP fork, the GNU image manipulation program fork, Glimpse, is now on pause, according to OMG Ubuntu, with no further updates planned. The ISP Comcast, or I should say, I guess their product Xfinity, has sent out a notification to a customer for downloading Ubuntu. A DMCA request has been sent out to an Ubuntu customer, or an Xfinity customer, for downloading Ubuntu via a torrent. This doesn't make any sense, though, because the supposed company that was mentioned in this DMCA letter is not, first of all, they said they didn't even send out a DMCA request for this, first of all, which makes no sense. But then second of all, they don't own the copyright. Canonical owns the copyright. And my understanding, correct, generally with Linux distro, you will have to sign an agreement when you contribute code that gives them the copyright for whatever your contributions are. So they're going to have copyright control over this. And Canonical, as far as I'm aware, has not said anything. I'm just looking at this. Article. I don't see anything about it, about whether Canonical has said something about this yet. But clearly this is a concerning thing, because we've got people out here that are downloading a legitimate Linux distro that should not have any issues, but they are having issues. And that to me is concerning, that we are in a situation where we are dealing, I'm going to turn my mic up a little bit here, that we are having a situation where we are dealing with legitimate issues, where that we have copyright holders that are not even copyright holders complaining as if they are copyright holders about this particular thing being theirs. And this is going to, I'm afraid, cause new Linux users that are downloading it via a torrent, which is completely legal and kosher behavior. The Canonical team that runs Ubuntu literally encourages it on their website and provides a torrent file to begin the torrenting process. And for those that don't know, I'm trying to keep everything as non-technical as I can when I'm explaining stuff, because I'm sure there's new listeners here that may not be as technical, or old listeners that may not be as technical. So what a torrent is, in layman's terms, is a torrent is basically peer-to-peer file sharing. So it allows for having computers share a file over the internet between each other without needing to really have a third party in the middle, such as Canonical. And this allows for, in many cases, having a faster download. So, you know, why would you not want to increase the download speed of getting Ubuntu's ISO onto your computer so you can write it to a USB key and install it? I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want that. But anyway, because we are in this situation where that Canonical has put out the torrent files and Comcast has sent this out, I think we're going to see a risk of, you know, new users being concerned by this and thinking that they're not supposed to be able to download Ubuntu. But they are. There's nothing wrong with downloading Ubuntu, folks. So if you're listening to this, go there. Go to the Ubuntu website right now. Download it. It's fine. Anyway, moving on to our next story of the week. What is our next story of the week? Let's take a look. Subline's text editor version 4, they've released a bunch of new features in this latest update here, build 4107. If you're a programmer and you use this tool, yeah, there you go. And they've added a bunch of new things. I have actually never really used this that much at all, honestly, so I can't really speak too much on it, but it seems like it's pretty nice. Looks like here that you can enable a GPU acceleration for your text editor in the settings file for the program, which is pretty cool. I have to say, I mean, maybe one of those days I'll go out and buy this. I'm trying to remember how much it is. But anyway, yeah, so if you use Sublime, there you go. It's the new version's out and looks pretty cool. I am going to just go back a little bit in the news, not too much, but just some other things. One thing I thought I'd bring up here is Linux app support on Chromebooks is coming out of beta now. This is pretty recent news. So that's pretty cool. So if you're using a Chromebook, you'll be able to actually use Linux apps on it. You will have to turn it on. It's still off by default, but it's pretty cool that we're getting that. It's been in beta for a while and they finally are pulling it out of beta. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I think that really covers our open source news for the week for the most part, and a little bit into last week as well. Oh, actually, one more thing here. I'm just looking at the list of things I wanted to talk about. Ubuntu, they have moved where their IRC channels are, their Internet Relay chat channels, to Libre Chat. It was on Freenode. There's a whole article about it on OMG Ubuntu, which I will link in the sources that you can read more about it. But basically, they've decided to move to this IRC platform for their chat needs. Yeah, so that pretty well covers it. There's not really too much to talk about this week, so it's pretty much just news. But I thought I would say hi to everybody. One thing I will say that I'm looking into for a video is I did a video a while back on CDE, the Common Desktop Environment, which is this Unixy and Linuxy desktop that was from the early 2000s and the 90s. And I like the looks of it, honestly. It's very retro, and so, it's kind of fun to do that. I don't know if I would use it on my daily driver system, but it's cool just to look at. But what I will say about it is there is actually a fork of it that you can install, and it has like modern support. It themes Qt and GTK apps, which for those that don't know, that's a toolkit that allows developers to build an application. So when you're building a GUI app, you are dealing with, as a programmer, a way to draw the buttons and everything on the screen. And that's what a toolkit does for you. It basically saves you the effort of having to write that from scratch. And very popular toolkits on Linux include GTK and Qt. But if you're using something like CDE, which is a motif desktop, it looks very out of place when you open one of those applications because it doesn't theme to match. But they have, with this NSCDE project, they have made themes that will customize your Qt and your GTK apps to look very similar to an actual motif app. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to make a video about that probably in the future. If nothing else, it's pretty interesting, and I would recommend you check it out. Yeah. But anyway, everybody, thank you very much for listening to Open Source Tonight. And one last thing. I recently heard word that one of my family members listens to this show. So yeah, thanks for listening to the show. You know who you are. And until next time, everybody, thanks for listening to Open Source Tonight. This is Vincent, signing off. Goodbye, everybody.